Well, hello everyone, and welcome to another episode of the Purpose Partner Path podcast, where we help women at life's crossroads who want to become unshakable and live their life with strategic grace. I'm your host, Coach Wendy Gladney, also known as the Purpose Partner. And today we're talking about something that I believe so many women are experiencing, especially in this climate, especially in this season. And it's about what happens when you've built a successful career. You've checked all the boxes. Check, check, check. You serve others faithfully. Yet, deep down inside, you begin hearing a quiet whisper that says, there's still more. That whisper can be exciting and terrifying all at the same time. Well, my guest today, she understands and knows that feeling so well, and we're going to get a chance to hear from her. But you know what we do every week, and it's time. Let's go get that cup of tea so that we can get started.
Exhale, let go, and enjoy the Purpose Partner Podcast. Wendy Gladney.
So exciting. So, Lisa J. Baxter is the founder and chief community builder of the Coleman-Baxter Agency, where she has spent years helping nonprofits, which is how we met, and corporations tell stories that inspire action and build authentic community. But today, she's living another dream. And after nearly 2 decades in the nonprofit world of being a leader, Lisa stepped into a new season as a full-time writer and is currently working on her very first novel. So she also writes, and you need to check it out, the wonderful Substack newsletter called This Is My Time. I hear you, Lisa. So this is where she shares honest reflections about her writing, reinvention, and navigating midlife. And you know what? I love checking out her stories. I made sure I subscribed so I can get some of the first peeks at what she's writing about. So I want you to all go over and subscribe afterwards. And Lisa, welcome to the Purpose Partner Path podcast. Please share with our guests just a little bit more about Lisa.
Well, first of all, Wendy, thank you so much for having me. I love what you've been doing with the Purpose Partner in general, and just all the good work that you do. You really are, someone that I admire. So, just thank you so much for the invite. Again, my name is Lisa J. Baxter. I am a proud Afro-Latina daughter of immigrants, proud mother, proud wife, resident of South Central, and I am a writer. I am an artist, and it feels so good to say that because that's something that's always, been a part of my life. My relationship with God is very important to me. And I just love my family and friends. And my superpower is building community. And I feel like I build that wherever I go. And it's really, I think, been something that has been at the forefront of the work that I do in general. For example, I just concluded a 19-year career in fundraising, being on the front lines of helping some of the most deserving nonprofits, and that has been such an honor for me. And it's been something that I think was just instilled in me from birth because of the way that my parents raised myself and my brothers. And so it's really interesting to be here at this time, in this pivot, in this shift. And here we are, 7 months into me launching my Substack. This is my time. I actually just made 105 subscribers, which is like, oh my gosh, it's just really heartwarming for me. And, working on my novel. So, I just feel like I'm a testament to that, life can really change in a series of moments. So.
That is so true. And we're going to even check another box of going back to some of those things as we dive a little bit deeper into our conversation. So, Lisa, we already talked about how you've had this successful career, but what made you actually realize that it was time for you to write a different chapter?
So it was definitely a very defining moment. In December of 2025, I was actually in a therapy session. And I had this realization that I did not know my mother and father's dreams. And that really shook me to my core. I just remember them, giving people money and shelter and helping the community, helping our family, but I did not know their dreams. And I remember it bothered me so much that, like, hours after the therapy session, I was just weeping. And I just again thought about how my parents spent so much time helping others. I don't think it occurred to them what they wanted. And I think this is true for many families of immigrants that, their greatest wish is to provide for their families, but to speak of their dreams aloud and to make it happen, this is not commonplace for me. So that therapy session, it really changed everything for me. I vowed to myself that I would make my dreams come true. I did not want to leave this earth until I tried and fully put myself to task. And I was currently working at as a part time development officer at the time. I'd already been there for like about 6 months. And come January, I decided to leave, and I have not looked back since. It has not been easy, but I'm doing it.
Mhm. But, I wanted to just make a little comment because you said something very interesting is that you did not know your parents' dreams. I think that can be true for a lot of people in that lot so many times our ancestors, I'm not even going to just deal with just the parents, but our ancestors and our loved ones, they get so caught up, the ones that serve and help community with taking care of other people, that sometimes they may not even know their own dreams because they're so busy taking care of. So I am glad that we are living in a time where not only can we hopefully go after our dreams, but put that seed in our children to make sure that they're clear, which always to me goes back to purpose. So, with that, how did you know there was a novel inside of you?
You know, that had, first of all, if you talk to my friends and family, it has always lived in me. I think since high school, I've been saying I've been wanting to write a book. It wasn't even like a specific like genre. It's just like, I want to write a book. And that was as far as the dream went. And I'd been talking about it so much. And honestly, I was afraid. I think I was afraid of my own power. I was afraid of my leadership because I know the responsibility. I have so many amazing leaders in my life, and just watching them, it was like, oh my gosh, can I handle? Because it's a responsibility. Your words are powerful, and you know, um, and I am the eldest daughter, and as an eldest daughter, you sometimes carry things that no one asked you to carry. And so for many seasons, to me, leadership looked and felt like a burden. And I think I avoided writing for so many years until I just couldn't anymore. But the book has always been inevitable because I just have so much to say now.
Yeah.
I just have so much to say.
I love it. And we want to hear what you have to say. And listening to you, I think about how so many women, especially with us women who carry so much, we ignore that inner voice. And
Yeah.
so you've kind of shared a little bit, but do you want to tell us any more, that what was maybe a deciding factor that just said to you, I'm going to do this?
I'm going to be 50 in September. And, my mother passed away when she was 66. And I just feel like things are urgent. Like, if you look at the climate that we're in right now,
Yeah.
and I have lost so many loved ones, like back to back to back. Um, there's no excuse for me to wait anymore. There's no excuse for me to say, oh, I'll get to that. It's now. And again, it's not easy. I don't want anybody to feel, writing is not easy. It's such a solitary thing, even though you share it with the world. But and I heard this quote recently. I don't even know who said it, but they said that they don't love the act of writing, they love having written. And
Hmm.
that's me. I love, like, after I've written, I'm like, yes, I can, change the world. And so yeah, that's what I would say. It's just so urgent for me in regards to that.
Right. And I understand what you're saying because, see, also in my mind, I do think about a lot of things being urgent. I hadn't thought about it from that perspective of the word, but I'm actually going to be 65 in a few weeks. And so you just seem like such a baby. I mean, to be honest, oh my gosh, but Both of my biological parents passed away at 59 years old. There was an age gap in terms of my dad was a few years older than my mom, but they were both 59. So for me, I did not like the number 59. I literally used to tell people when they would ask me, I would say I'm 58 plus 1. And I could not wait to 60. And then I would say, I'm 60. And people are like, why are you so excited about it? I'm like, because I made it. I mean, I made it to 60. But we are in times where it is so critical that if we're going to be about something and do something that we do, which is a great segue for my next question. Because one of the things I was going to say is, I love your Substack title that this is my time. That statement is so powerful. What You've already shared it with us in terms of like the urgency, but what made you pick that title to stick with it for your Substack?
Yeah, this is my time. It is it is really about its resistance, its love. It's not putting my story and what I have to say, my gifts and what I have to say on the back burner. It's really saying, you know what? I'm going to take this time, I'm going to seize it. Not
Hmm.
necessarily because it's the only time that I have, but because I am being conscious and intentional about how I am spending my time. And so I want to make sure that I'm casting light into the world. I want to make sure that, even though the things that I went through have been painful, that because I've done the inner work, I can now not only heal myself, but heal others. So that's what this is my time is for me. It's such it is a powerful statement. And I think when I came up with it, it was like the first thing that I thought about when I was looking for a title. And it just fit because it was me honoring myself and saying, you know what? I have put myself on the back burner for so long. So
Hmm.
here I am.
Yeah. So true. And, one of the things I know for a fact is that as mothers, wives, caregivers, community activists, leaders, oftentimes we put a lot of our dreams on the back burner. But
Yeah.
for you to get to this place and to do what you're now doing as you're walking in this season, w- to embrace it, what did you have to release?
My goodness. My ego, my pride, my hurt, my shame, my guilt, the version of myself that would shrink to make others feel comfortable, old narratives, my opinion, my others' opinions, doubts, my
Yeah.
fear of failure, and some relationships. That was a big one. And that's still, that one I think has been the hardest, because unfortunately everyone can't go with you when you're going someplace. And I know that logically, but when you're going through it, it really is hard.
Yeah.
Um, and you can't get through this process without thinking that you are going to be, you're going to be the same person going in. You're not. It's impossible. You must really do the inner work. I just remember what Toni Morrison said, you want to fly, you need to get rid of the things that weigh you down. So I want to fly. So I got to let go of all those things.
It's interesting that you would say that because I literally just spoke at a conference recently and it was an amazing conference. I was grateful to be a part of that. But one of the speakers said something and it kind of reminds me of what you were just talking about with Toni Morrison. And she said, to get where you want to go, you got to pack light. Pack light. And if we really think about that, it goes across the board on so many things. I mean, like even down to like when I start going on trips now, I want to take one carry on and that's it because I don't want luggage gone or whatever. But even like if I think about Erica Badu about the bag lady, I mean, like all of it. We got all this stuff heavy on us. Like we got to pack light when we're working on reinventing ourselves or getting to the other side. And when you were also speaking about sometimes we have to let some people go because
Yeah.
my husband has a saying, and of course, I won't get it correct now, but he says basically, if you're not a wind in my sail, then you are a pull on my tail. Like basically, you're going to pull me down. If you're not a wind that's taking me, where I'm trying to go, then you're going to drag me down. And so, it's hard, but just like that book says, what got you here won't get you there. So same thing, whether it's people, places, or things that it's just sometimes a reality, and we just have to learn how to do what we have to do and still help others to, um I would say, hold on to their pride or to their ego too as well, because so many people get so conflicted when we're doing what we're supposed to be doing. It's like, well, just go do what you're supposed to do, and everything will be okay. Which reminds me, one of the pillars of the work that I do with the Purpose Partner, which you know so well, is about crossroads,
Yeah.
and and I've learned that crossroads are not always negative. It's not always a tragedy. It can be an opportunity, and that's what I think you're experiencing. So this has been a crossroads period for you. And so with that, what are you learning about yourself?
Ooh, yeah. I'm definitely at an intersection of letting go of all the women I used to be and embracing the woman that I'm becoming. Um, I really think about my favorite quote by Nelson Mandela says, I never lose, either I win or I learn." And so,
Yeah.
as I'm going through this whole shift, there's been a lot of lessons. And so instead of, focusing on disappointment or tragedy or, whatever that is, something happening, not going my way, I really have started to train myself to, really look at it from an opportunistic, point
Mhm.
of view. Like, and also what has this all taught me? Because just like if I look back at my career and all the things that I've done, everything has led me here. And the thing about it is, and you know this, you can never see the path clearly when you're shifting. I don't know. I just know that, okay, I'm writing this book. I can't see the finish line. I mean, I know I'm going to finish the book and everything, but I don't know everything that's going to happen. I don't know what all's going to come of this. I have no idea. So I just put my faith in God. I continue to create, and I continue to work on being in alignment. And that's been the biggest part, is that I had for a very large part of my life not been in full alignment with who God called me to be. And once I started moving in that direction, everything changed.
Mhm.
Um, and I think there's always, sometimes there's always not sometimes, but there's always a cost, no matter what, whether you're going in the wrong direction or good direction, there's always a cost. And you have to just figure out what that is, and figure out what tools you need to like navigate during that time.
Yeah. You used
Yeah.
another word, alignment. So again, at the same conference, we had a prayer breakfast, and Smokey Norfolk was the speaker and singer, and that was his theme was, are we in alignment with God, with where we're supposed to go? And those two, that is so true, when it comes to really, it's not so much just a plan, or it's not just writing something down. It's about, are we being aligned with our true purpose that God has called us to do? And sometimes it takes us a while to even figure all that out, to be honest. And when we're on the road, like you said, we may not see it all, but if we know we're on the right road at the right time, doing the next step, it will come to us. So, as you're writing this wonderful novel, what have you learned about yourself?
Oh, discipline and consistency has always been hard for me, because even though I have not been um, officially diagnosed, I do have ADD. And so it has really become something that I've been proud about, especially with my Substack. I'm like, okay, I'm writing every single week, on time, on deadline. I'm getting, working on the manuscript. Like I have become, I think, I'm becoming the best version of myself in this season. And
Hmm.
it's because I'm giving myself grace to, make mistakes. Grace when, those times where it's like, sometimes it can be hard to write because you're just not emotionally in that place.
Hmm.
And just also have more fun. That's something that for a very long time I wasn't even the mood or the mindset to have, because I was in survival mode. So now it's a very different it's a very different thing for me as I'm writing this novel. Sometimes I am surprised at the things that make me emotional, because I thought I had already push past that. But then I remember that I am I'm a human, and I have lived, and I have gotten the honor of having the experience of going through those emotions and all of that. So I look at it more as, hey, you get to express yourself and share these words that you don't know could heal someone else that's on the same journey, or that may not have even thought they could give themselves permission to choose themselves, because I think that's very hard for a lot of people to do.
Totally, totally. And when we really are of a servant's heart, truly, everything we go through is really about how can we help our fellow man, others and so forth. And God doesn't comfort us to make us comfortable. He comforts us so we can comfort others. And so I love what you're saying about that. What do you say to the person who's listening who says, I want to write my book someday, but they're not doing anything about it. What would you say to just encourage them to get started?
So as someone who said that for much of my life, I I would say, well, what would it feel if someday never came? And I
Mm,
would really want them to sit with that, because, like I said earlier, I've lost so many loved ones back to back. I just view life so differently. And I just feel like now is all we have. And again, I feel like it is urgent. It's not it's something, because the I felt in my experience, the more that I denied myself, the further I got away from what God wanted for me, the more that I was in unnecessary seasons. And so, if you are in full alignment, if that's what God wants you to do, then you need to obey that call.
yes, I do. And what role does community play with that, or your village, your tribe?
Oh my gosh. Community plays a huge role. I mention my mother and father often in my writing, because they were the first community builders, activists, philanthropists that I ever knew. And for them, community was everything. Even them moving to South Central was intentional, because their whole thing was like, oh, okay, if people don't see other good people in the community, then they won't know. So community has played a big part. I have an amazing support system. I have amazing colleagues, peers, and friends, people like you that really, like, you're not just saying you support me, you've actually supported me. And so those are the things, and those are the things that I've been spending, more time thinking about, not the people that haven't done that, but the people that are front and center. There's a quote by Robin Wall Kimmerer that says, "To love a place is not enough, but we must find ways to heal it." So, what am I doing to heal my community? It's not what can my community just give to me, but what am I doing to heal my community? So, community plays a huge part in my work, um, in my family's lives. Community will always be up there, along with God, family, and everything else.
Mhm. And we are a people of community. I mean, when we look at our
Yeah,
ancestors, when we look at
yeah,
where we've come from, and just being from the diaspora of people of color, it's community that's always usually been there to help us get over, through, in whatever it is that has needed. When I was in college, and I moved to LA to go to college, I was attending a church called Mount Zion, and Dr. E.V. Hill was my pastor. And one of the things he used to always talk about, just like your parents, was he had a lot of up and coming people that attended that church, a lot of celebrities, a lot of people who went on to do good things. And he would tell them, come, keep coming back here to church. And he would say, and if you live here, don't move away. Fix up
yeah.
your house and everything. And for the very reason, because he says, if everybody leaves, what, who will the children have to look at? Who will the others know that somebody cares? So your parents planted something that was just simply amazing into your heart and into your life. And I know it's true because I know you and I know how you are about community. As we start to get a little wrapping up into our time, one of the things I love to ask my guests when we have time, and we do, is what I call rapid fire questions. And this is where, you don't think too long about it, but just kind of give an answer that comes off of your heart. And the first question is one word that describes this season of your life.
Revealing.
I like that. Morning writer or night writer?
Late morning.
Okay, late morning. Coffee or tea?
Juice.
Okay. I'll have to
Juice.
add that one. Yeah, that's true because a lot of people.
Agua fresca.
I,
Love agua frescas.
okay, I love that. Your favorite place to write?
At my parents' grave.
Ooh, that kind of reminds me of when I went to a vote for the first election for President Obama. I took a brooch and two other things that belonged to my grandmother into the voting booth with me because I wanted to take them with me, take her with me, because my grandmother was first generation born free in our family. So to hear you say that, it brought a little chill to me because as a writer, I understand that ancestral, that ancestry, our ancestors kind of speaking to us, And I know somebody's going to say something crazy to me later about because I'm going to say speaking to you from the grave, but I do still hear my grandmother. I do. I hear her, and she speaks to me. So, thank you for sharing that. Okay, what's one book you think everybody should read?
Eva Luna by Isabel Allende. I
Okay, wait a
love
minute.
that book.
I gotta write it down. Say it again.
Eva Luna, and that's EVA, Luna, Luna, by Isabel Allende. It is, oh, I read it in college and I feel like I read it almost every year. It's just filled with amazing characters and the story is amazing and I love it.
I love that. Thank you for sharing that. A woman who inspires you.
Black women,
Okay.
Black women inspire me. All of them.
Uh, what's one thing you're learning about yourself right now?
That I'm a dangerous woman because I now know better.
Ooh, they say if we know better, we'll do better. So I like that. I like that. So complete this sentence. This is my time because.
My gifts and my story no longer take a back seat.
Lisa, you're going to be my new role model. I mean, because although I do a lot of that, there's still some times that I have hesitation because I'm always trying to help everybody. And sometimes I still put some things on the back burner. That balance act is hard because for me, sometimes I'm also dealing with grandchildren now and, just different things that just touch my heart that like, okay, what is the priority? So, Lisa, what is that one thing you want to leave with the woman who's listening to this podcast to encourage her, to give her some wisdom?
I would say Isaiah chapter 58, verse 11, where God guides, he provides. That has been my North Star. That is my touchstone whenever I have fears or doubts. And that's something that I have seen become true in each and every iteration of my life and every pivot that I've made.
I actually have something up it's actually in our master bedroom that has that scripture on it. So, and it's actually hanging above the door to go out of the bedroom, and our bed faces the door. So we see it every morning, to remind us that no matter what, that God, where He guides, He will provide. So, Lisa, is there anything that I've missed that you just really want to share and encourage anyone, or just say that we didn't get to because you still have a couple minutes?
I mean, I would just say, when you're writing, that it doesn't have to be perfect. Let it be messy, just right. As a recovering perfectionist, that has been one of the hardest things to do. So just write, just write, just
I
write.
I totally understand that, and you can take your time with editing,
Yeah.
but get it out. You gotta get it out to get started. Yep. So, Lisa, thank you so much for joining us today. Your story reminds us that purpose doesn't have a time limit. And I just want you to know you're still young, okay? You say you're 50, you're still young. Dreams don't have a deadline. Reinvention isn't about just becoming someone else, it's becoming your best self. And that's what you were talking about earlier is that you're becoming your best version of yourself. And I love that. So to everyone listening today, I encourage you, please follow Lisa J. Baxter through Substack. So how do they find you on Substack?
My Substack is called This Is My Time. I'm also on Instagram at the one LJB, and I'm on LinkedIn, Lisa J. Baxter.
So there you go, audience. You can find her. Please encourage her. Please support her. Please subscribe, because your next chapter doesn't begin when everything is perfect. It begins the moment you decide to turn the page. So thank you again for joining us for another episode of the Purpose Partner Path podcast. Until next time, I'm Coach Wendy, the Purpose Partner, and you can go over to my website at wendygladney.com, where you can pick up a copy of my latest book, The Purpose Partner Method Handbook, now on sale. Thank you so much, everyone. God bless you, and have an amazing day. Thanks, Lisa.
Exhale, let go, and enjoy the purpose partner.